Welcome to Daily Wisdom, where every single day we seek to take a piece of God's wisdom and then apply that to our everyday life. We've been using a reading plan called The Essential Jesus. You can find info about that in the links in the description below here on YouTube, so you can follow along with us if you'd like. We are continuing our study of Jesus and looking at the Gospels, and we finished studying the birth accounts of Jesus and how he arrived. But now we're getting our first glimpse, and it's the only glimpse we have of Jesus, as a pre-teen. It is a moment where he is 12 years old and a challenge that his parents have with him. Let's jump into our reading in Luke chapter 2. We're going to pick up right with verse 41. Every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up to the festival according to the custom. After the festival was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day and then began looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. You could just imagine what Mary and Joseph might have felt in this moment. I don't know if you're a parent, but I am. And I've taken my boys shopping with me, and they like to goof off when we go shopping, especially clothes shopping. They like to hide from me in those circular hanger things where the clothes are hanging in this in the circle, and they hide in there and jump out and like to scare me. And this one time I remember looking for them. It felt like an eternity, but it was only a couple of minutes, and they were hiding inside of those clothing racks. And I could not find them anywhere. And there was this moment of panic that came over me in that moment where I could not find my kids. So you can just imagine, I can imagine what Mary and Joseph might have felt as they were traveling for an entire day without him. They must have been with a group or something and assumed that someone else had an eye on Jesus. It kind of reminds me of the Home Alone movie where the whole family takes off on vacation and leaves their boy behind, their 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy behind. That's what's happening to Mary and Joseph here, as they have left Jesus behind in Jerusalem without realizing it. Let's continue to read what happens next. After 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who had heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." "Why were you searching for me?" he asked. "Didn't you know I had to be in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he was saying to them. I remember that moment when I first found my boys, when I was looking for them for that few minutes where I had lost them. And there was this mixture of relief and anger that I felt in the moment because they had left me in those couple of minutes. And I can just picture Mary, "Your father and I were looking for you." You know, I don't know if your parents ever said that to you growing up. "Just wait till your father gets home." And I could picture Mary in this mixture of relief and anger with Jesus. I mean, you could even hear it in her words. "Why have you treated us this way?" she asks him. And his reply shows even more wisdom that the teachers of the law and the teachers in the temple were hearing from him, surprised how wise this young child was and the answers that he was giving around these theological questions. This shows, and Jesus reveals something in his answer. "Didn't you know I had to be in my father's house?" A response to his mother that shows that something that his parents didn't quite get at the moment, but he was referring to his heavenly Father. He was referring to his godly Father, the fact that he was given a mission from his heavenly Father as the Son of God, the Messiah. You know, this idea about being the Messiah isn't something that Jesus just came up with later in life in his ministry to gather a crowd. This is showing and revealing to us that this is something he was born with. This was his supernatural destiny as the Son of God, and also referring to the idea that he has a purpose given to him by his heavenly Father, a purpose that ultimately applies to each of us, because each of us have to decide what we are going to do when we find Jesus. How are you going to respond now that Jesus has been introduced into your life? And how do you respond on a daily basis to Jesus? Is he just the Son of God on the weekends? Or is he the Son of God every day in your life? Let's think about that as we continue with our week, that we should keep Jesus at the center of our life every single day. That's today's Daily Wisdom. I hope you found today's video encouraging. If so, hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet. We will see you tomorrow.